Liverpool, I'd love to get your, and I know you broke this news this morning yourself, but close to finalising a move for Kerkez is your current understanding, Ben?
Yeah, this one is going to happen, I think, because Kerkez has agreed terms and Liverpool have an excellent relationship with Bournemouth. It's Richard Hughes going back to his old stomping ground. And Bill Foley has said on record in an interview with TalkSport that they won't unduly stand in players like Kerkez's way. What will be interesting is after, if as expected it goes through, Kerkez completes his move to Liverpool, Bournemouth become a bit more bullish over Zabanyi or Clivert or Semenya should offers come in, because there is a kind of subplot here, which is Andoni Iraola is a name that Bournemouth want to sign a new deal and stay. But if they lose too many, then the project can be set back. So the only real sort of difference between Howson going fast and Kerkez taking a bit more time is the fact that Howson had a release clause and Kerkez doesn't. Bournemouth's original feeling was 40 million plus, and you may have seen some reports that even say 45 for Kerkez. But my understanding is the clubs are close to finalising a deal of up to £40 million, which may mean that Liverpool have shaved a few million off the original asking price. And again, because Kerkez wants that move to Liverpool, even though he's been linked with Real Madrid and historically Chelsea and Arsenal, although those clubs are not currently in the race, at this stage, it's looking very likely that Milos Kerkez is completed soon. And then Liverpool fans will be waiting for Florian Wirtz news as well. And those talks are progressing quite nicely from what I hear as well. So I'm expecting Liverpool to land most of their major targets. Probably the biggest question mark will be over the number 9 and whether or not they can genuinely go for Alexander Isak, even though Newcastle feel he'll stay now they've got Champions League football. Are they going to drop the 100 million that Frankfurt are asking for Hugo Ekitike? They could even enter the race for Benjamin Sesko, even though it feels like Arsenal are more advanced on that one at the moment. So a number 9 might be the more complicated in terms of competition and price move for Liverpool. But they've discreetly done all that legwork for Wirtz, and that one is looking pretty close now. I would go so far as to say they are going to get Milos Kerkez, and Jeremy Frimpong is also over the line too. So it's been a phenomenal summer for Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, as I just mentioned, City's window shaping. Liverpool, as you mentioned, Kerkez will happen, Frimpong done. Wirtz, like I've said about the Mbomo deal earlier, it's further along than the Mbomo deal, but I think most people know it's going to happen unless there's a catastrophic end to it. The number 9 conversation is interesting, though, because the bookmakers have shortened the odds of Gyökeres to Liverpool. We've seen the links with Sesko. We've seen the links with Ekitike. There's also been some stories from the likes of Sam Maguire that maybe Liverpool would look for a more economical number 9 as opposed to someone that's going to command a massive fee and massive wages. That's not what you're hearing then. You're hearing that there could also be a huge expenditure in the number 9 position for Liverpool as well.
Yeah, I think there will be, because Darwin Nunez is expected to leave. And if he chooses Saudi, there's interest from Atletico Madrid as well. Good money is coming in there. And don't forget the Luis Diaz story, because if Al Nassr bid and Diaz chooses Saudi over Barcelona, that will have big money as well. And I think there's a concrete possibility that even if both players don't go to Saudi, one of them decides to make the move there. And as I broke yesterday, Al Nassr have now received central budget approval to make an offer for Luis Diaz that could be as high as 85 million euros. The challenge is if Barcelona enter that race and Diaz is high in their thinking, Diaz may hold out. And Saudi is going to be quite an interesting one. Not so much because the ambition has changed. If anything, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Remember, Simone Inzaghi is about to join Al Hilal, as I broke yesterday, on a 2-year contract, but it's a year before the 2026 World Cup. And I think there'll be a few players out there that are actually quite sold on the Saudi project, but don't want to make that move to Saudi Arabia a year before the World Cup. And it isn't just because they feel the standard is different to Europe. There's a massive cultural change that maybe people don't realize. You're going from getting up at 7 a.m, straight to training, breakfast and lunch, coming back, seeing your family, kids after school, getting some downtime. And then in the afternoon now for footballers, there's all the new sports science that never used to exist. So they're not just on their couches playing FIFA or golf. They're still having to do things. So it's like a proper sort of 8 a.m. until 5 a.m. shift for them. When you go to Saudi Arabia, you are maybe waking up at 11 or 12. I remember doing an interview a few months ago with Ivan Toney, and he said it was great if he was up earlier because he could see his kids up to school, but then he was waiting and waiting and waiting. Nothing really opened until 3 p.m. Training started at 5. Games kicked off at 9, or even when it was really hot, 10 o'clock. And he wasn't clear from his match day cycle until 1 or 2 a.m. And then imagine if you then get flown over for international duty and suddenly you have to reverse that. You're kind of living with a perennial jet lag between club football and country. And some players with aspirations, and this was Bruno Fernandes's thinking as well, are a bit wary specifically about Saudi this season for that point. And maybe if you think of Fernandes's age, that's also because this is likely, we can't say impossible because of what Ronaldo's doing, but likely to be his final World Cup for Portugal. So that's a factor. But coming back to Liverpool anyway, Diaz could command 85 million if he goes to Saudi. Obviously, it would be less if Liverpool agreed to deal with Barcelona. The money offered in January for Darwin Nunez that was turned down was in the region of 75 million euros. And Liverpool felt that it wasn't worth selling mid-season. The same for Trent Alexander-Arnold at that point to Real Madrid. But now I think through a combination of Diaz and Nunez, whether it's one or both, Liverpool can bring in some serious money, allowing them to invest in a number 9. And when you sort of refer to economical, if it's Kerkez, he's 70 million plus high wages. If it's Shesko, he's 80 million, still relatively good wages, but not as high as Kerkez. If it's João Pedro, he'll want a bump from already a Premier League wage. And the price will be relatively steep because Brighton still don't really want to sell. If it's Alexander Isak, it might be 150 million and the biggest wage of the lot. So Liverpool are not really put off because they've got money to spend by a certain number. That's not their model. They will run the data and decide if there's value in that number. So Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk are being paid still incredible money. But the renewal happened because it wasn't about the finances and can we afford it? It was about, are these players worth it? And I can guarantee you, whoever the player is, Liverpool's thinking will not be about we cannot afford. It will be about what is value for money. And if they see value in one of these bigger spending number 9s, they'll do the deal.
Makes a lot of sense. Liverpool fans, give us your thoughts, give us your opinions on that in the comments section below.